Greetings people, it's Jared here, Wolfcan1, back to do another Transformers review, and today I've got an absolute beauty for you. Now this was requested again by Marcus Prime, because he does love a suspicious little piece of shit, doesn't he? So without further ado, we are going to be taking a look at a figure I've actually wanted to do for a little while, because I've painstakingly put it all back together with varying degrees of success, which obviously the review will delve into. So let's get straight on into this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the review for G1 Rodimus Prime. So G1 Rodimus Prime, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this out of the way now, right? The box art looks impressive. It makes the robot mode look impressive, but this actual toy is anything but impressive. He is, I don't know why I like him, but let's get this out of the way. He is fundamentally a piece of shit, which I suspect is why, again, Marcus Prime went, you couldn't do a review on G1 Rodimus Prime, could you? Because I've got fond memories of him from my childhood. Yeah. I dare say you have got fond memories of him of your childhood, but you also know that he's fundamentally a piece of shit. You know that I've got him, therefore you want to see him reviewed. Very clever, Mark. I'm not that stupid, right? Well, clearly I am, because here I am. G1 Rodimus Prime. So I've put this guy back together, in some senses, quite literally, over the course of the last few years. I got the box from TFN. Helen bought that for me. Thank you very much, Helen. The figure I put back together over time with parts, instruction booklets, and everything like that. And in some cases, I've had to actually repair the figure itself. Didn't do a fantastic job, but actually, it could have been worse. The box has seen better days, but then again, it's the original box. The bubble insert and everything like that is reproduction, and it's got a fantastic, one of the best fucking battle scenes on the back of this. Now, this figure for me is a bit of a hodgepodge, because I've got reproduction parts for it. I've got parts that I'm not entirely sure went with it, or would have come with it. But do you know what? I'm not going to lose any sleep over that, quite frankly. As far as I'm concerned, I've got a 100% complete Rodimus Prime. This artwork though, this battle is absolutely fucking great. The old school toys really knew how to fucking pull it out of the bag when it came to this sort of stuff. So yeah, that's Rodimus in his box. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's not really a lot to say about it in the box, apart from the fact it's got the moron guide on the top of it. And yeah, the box artwork, it just looks fantastic. There's something about these boxes that invokes a very, very particular sense of nostalgia. I think it goes beyond nostalgia. It goes almost to the point where you're almost living that era again, not just harking back to it and thinking back to it. For a moment, you're almost there again, which is incredible. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that Rodimus came with. It would have come with one tech spec decoder. So to read his tech specs, basically, would have come with one instruction booklet showing you the dizzy heights and details of the transformation, and the stuff that it would have come with as well. I haven't got a label sheet for it because I've already replaced the labels for him. He would have come with a product book. Now, I've got a product book here for the era of the Headmasters, and Rodimus was still being sold. Where is he? Where's the fat nugget? There we are. Rodimus was still being sold in the Headmasters era. Now, I don't know whether this would have been the original product sheet for this, or whether or not there was one that came before. I'd have to do some research. But this is the only one I've got that actually shows Rodimus Prime being sold in that era. So I'm using that for the time being as a guide for a product sheet that you would have come with. He came with one very, very long blaster, which was faithfully reproduced in the cartoon. And he would have come with two of these. Now, these are the blast shields that connect to his trailer battle deck mode thing, except that my one didn't have them, so I've bought some reproduction ones. The problem is these reproduction ones don't fucking fit, right? So I've had to try filing it down. Now, I can just about get this one in, right? But I've had no luck trying to get the others in and filed down. I've got more than two of these. I think I've got about four. I don't know where the other two are. So for the purpose of this review, I'm not going to be able to show these blast shields as they're intended to be. I'll be able to show one of them. That's about it. Okay, so don't get too excited by these pieces of shit just here. These are just basically, at this point, a guide to show what you would have come with. All right. So with that out of the way, we're back to fucking G1 Rodimus in his glory box. Yeah, the artwork is fantastic. The just the whole setup of these things is just fucking great for me. Hence why I wanted to try and restore as many of my G1s to this condition as possible. Though I do appreciate, as the lines went further and further and the packaging became less and less, the chances of doing that are somewhat remote. But a man can dream. And the best thing about this is this particular toy, well, not this toy, this box and the toy that it would have come with was bought in Tesco's for £9.95. Now, you try getting a fucking G1 boxed complete Rodimus Prime, right, for £9.99, and I will take my hat off to you and suck your cock, right, because I promise you it's never going to happen again. These fucking days here are long behind us, ladies and gentlemen, okay? So, with that intro out of the way, right, let's get straight on in and show off the figure itself. Okay, so here's G1 Rodimus in his futuristic Winnebago mode. Now, it's always struck me as interesting, and people just assume it's a Winnebago. I can't say that it's not supposed to be a Winnebago. I think it's just generally accepted that that's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's always struck me as amazing that no one's has ever attempted at any point to try and make one of these, like sort of make a customized Winnebago and recreate this in real life, because in real life, this would look fucking great. Let's not, you know, pretend it wouldn't. The figure is decades old now, so obviously we've got the obligatory chrome wear just on the accentuated smokestacks there. I've got silver paint wear on the front wheel there. Middle one's all right. The back one's looking a bit dodgy. Not too bad on this side. Slightly more chrome wear on this side on the smokestacks. So he has been repro labelled. So I've taken liberties with some of the stickers. I've added some stickers that weren't supposed to be included overall. So he's got his name at the back. I don't know where I got these two from. Prowl or Trail. I think a spare set for Trailbreaker. There's an Autobot symbol on the back. I even added some little ones here. I'm not sure where the fuck they came from. Probably another Trailbreaker set. Yeah, and that's the futuristic Winnebago mode. And this, for me, right now, I may be in a minority here. I don't know, but this is where the enjoyment starts and promptly ends, right? Because in this mode, Rodimus is all kinds of fucking awesome. Let's not pretend that he isn't, right? I think what lets Rodimus down most of all is everything that comes after this point. So the transformation process and the finalized robot mode both leave a lot to be desired and do smack a little bit of, yeah, whatever, on the toy designer's part, okay? When I bought this Rodimus off eBay, I thought he was in pretty good condition. Funnily enough, I was promptly proven wrong. And the reason for that is I opened up the combat deck section just here, and one of these panels came right off in my hand because there was no bar holding it together, like on the sort of inside where the hinge is. The hinge bar disappeared. So I've actually had to replace that with a piece of stiff wire. And now it works fine. Although when I do open up the combat deck, you'll see what a fucking bodge job I made of that. It just about fucking worked for the purpose of the toy. Okay, that is about it. Sorry, I've got tea, and tea is life, as we all know. So as a result, when I repro labeled this guy, you'll notice that this back section here kind of looks like I've put the stickers on uneven. I haven't. All I've got to do is push that together, and you can even see just here there's a gap where that's not sitting as flush as it should do. Fuck all I can do about that. But they're actually supposed to line up properly, and weirdly enough, they lined up properly when I first stickered it, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, this section here has moved, and now it no longer lines up. But that's a minor gripe for me. Apart from that, I was really worried about getting these stickers on and trying to get these lined up perfectly. It took a couple of attempts just to make sure I was doing it right. but I'm actually very, very pleased with the result there. On the underside, well, you can pretty much see the robot on the underside. I mean, there's the legs, there's the hands, and all the stickers that correspond to the robot mode. I did move these ones just here on the feet. They were supposed to sit somewhere up here. I thought, fuck that. I'll give the feet a little bit of definition. Yeah, and that's Rodimus. He rolls, squeaks, but he rolls very, very nicely. So I think all we should do now is take it to the transformation. Let me separate the transformation. Actually, let's start by taking Rodimus out of the cradle, right? And this is something else I want to say. Actually, it's a shame that every version of Rodimus, the Masterpiece version, the Kingdom version, blah blah, they can't incorporate the trailer section into the transformation of the robot, like it did in the cartoon. I know the cartoon took a lot of fucking liberties, with their animation designs. It just would be nice to see one day to actually see Takara or Hasbro actually give it a go. It might work. It might be a failure on every fucking level, but at least fucking try. Do you know what I mean? So, right. So let's get Rodimus out of the trailer, and basically to do that, you just pull the fucker out like that. Okay. So now we're left with two parts. Rodimus has got no back wheels to speak of. Would have been nice, maybe. Oh, actually, he's got those two on the bottom, but would have been nice to maybe have like some inner wheels, maybe. But do you know what? Whatever. That's Rodimus. Let's set him off. Let's talk about the combat trailer. Now, the combat trailer is very, very simple. What you do is you just split it down the middle by applying pressure. He says, not convinced of his own bullshit. There we are. A little bit of pressure. Split that in half. Like that. And then raise up the dual gun. Actually, let's bring this back a little bit. There we are. Bring that up like that, and then extend the combat deck weapon, and then that's it. Okay, that is the combat deck. Now, let's get into the bone of contention here. That is the blast shields. The blast shields are supposed to sit in these gaps just here. Okay, so let's stick one of them in. Right, that's how they're supposed to sit. If you can imagine it. On both sides, okay? But because this is me we're talking about here, that's not going to happen because the fuckers don't fit. So, for the purposes of this review, imagine that doubled, right? And that's how that's supposed to fucking look. Now, that's about as much as I can do. That's about as much as I can do with it. This just here. This side has got a hinge pin all the way through that section there. This side didn't, and you can see just here I've had to put in, as I said, some wire to actually go all the way through there and all the way to the end to actually allow that hinge to function. Otherwise this again would just pop straight out of my hand. That's the combat deck, ladies and gentlemen. Its playability value was all right, I guess, but it doesn't really say a lot to me. It's just like we need to fill negative space, and like, all right, let's just put a gun in there that will never, ever turn up, ever. Maybe it turned up once in the cartoon, I think, but that was probably a fucking animation error, knowing that lot. Yeah, that's about as much as I can say for that. Let's get into the real fucking guts and glory of this review, ladies and gentlemen, which is not this pile of shit. It's this pile of shit. Okay, now. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Right. The transformation for Rodimus is not complicated. It's not the sort of transformation that you're likely to forget after the first attempt. And it's also not fun either. There is literally less than fuck all to this, right? Because Rodimus, if I was to stand it up like that, is pretty much fucking half done already. Sorry. Tea is life. Right. Okay, let's just zoom out again so you can see what the fuck I'm looking at. Okay, so the transformation. These two sections just here. Extend these forward, and that's the feet done. So basically that's the legs done, right? That's most of the robot fucking there already, right? This entire bonnet section, extend this forward, okay? Separate these two sections with the wheels and the wheel arches away from the body, okay? and then spin the entire bonnet section around like this, collapse the entire thing back in on itself, stand it up, lift up the head. Okay, there we are. Now, this thing here, the spoiler, is supposed to come off and then go. Oh, Christ, hang on. Let's turn the speakers off my computer. The spoiler detaches and then connects to the top just like that. Okay, so that's how his spoiler sits. Now, that is G1 Rodimus Prime, ladies and gentlemen, and he is fucking piss weak, right? Let's give him his gun. Let's try and give him a little bit of definition, right? Let's give him his fucking gun, right? That makes absolutely no difference to the enjoyment factor you will not receive in this toy, right? I thought, when I had this years ago, I thought my one had a paint defect or hadn't been painted properly, right? Because, let's try and zoom in a little bit. Why is that not? There we go. I thought my one had a paint defect on the eyes. Because I thought they haven't painted the eyes properly, right? No. This one has exactly the same fucking paint problem, and it just makes it look like he's woken up. Rodimus Prime has woken up after a very, very long sleep. That's bleary-eyed Rodimus right there. I know they're supposed to try and invoke the image that he's older, he's wiser, he's whatever. He just looks like he's spent 36 hours of sleep. He's overtired. Overtired Rodimus right there, right? Now, in terms of articulation, the arms do not go around a full 360 because of this fucking thing at the back. Now, I thought he kind of looked better if you put the spoiler back down there. And Rodimus kind of looks a little more in proportion with himself. It doesn't matter the fact that you still can't fucking move the arms around anyway, right? This arm's very, very loose. This arm ain't much better. The legs have absolutely no articulation whatsoever. They're a solid piece. And the head of my one won't stay up. Probably because Rodimus is a borderline fucking narcoleptic. I don't know, right? That's how I tend to display my Rodimus, with the spoiler a little bit further down to better invoke his previous hot rod persona. Doesn't matter if I have the spoiler there or if I have it here, which is apparently where they want you to have it, right? Rodimus is still a stinking pile of shit. Now, considering he's supposed to go up against Galvatron, a toy which is 3 times fucking wider than this and much taller, it's kind of like the Fortress Maximus and Scorponok scaling, just on the really, really, really like sort of far end at that scale, like the extreme end of that scale. I don't know why these are moving like that. There must be like, I don't really want to take this apart to try and fix this, but that does not invoke much confidence in me, quite frankly. But ladies and gentlemen, that is G1. That, right, is G1 Rodimus Prime. That is the leader of the Autobots after Optimus Prime. Now, you can say what you will. He's the chosen one. He's the rightful heir to the Matrix. I'm going to withhold judgment on that, quite frankly, because he's not doing a lot to convince me otherwise. But he's not saying Autobot Leader to me, quite frankly, this toy. What he is saying to me is ropey piece of shit. Lazy offering from the 1986 line. But ladies and gentlemen, that right there is G1 Rodimus Prime. And if you want to go all in, then fuck it. Give it his combat deck, right? Give him the combat deck. And there we are. Does that increase your enjoyment of this figure? Because it certainly didn't for me, right? There he is. There is G1 Rodimus Prime in his combat deck, looking just a little bit piss weak and a little bit pathetic. Having said all those negative things, however, for some reason, I like this toy. And I think I like the toy for the Alt mode, definitely, because, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, the robot mode is severely fucking lacking in enjoyment, entertainment, or anything, quite frankly. But that's my review. That is my review for G1 Rodimus Prime. I do hope you enjoyed this, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gerald Gavin Barry, also known As Wolfgang1 saying, I'll be back in the near future with more reviews, 7 days, this, that, and the other. When I eventually get my arse to get to do the this, that, and the other. Until then, take it in. Take a moment to take in the glory of this shambles of a toy. And yeah, and I shall see you soon. Until then, take care. And when tomorrow comes, I feel you laying by me, like you ain't got nowhere else to go.